I'm going to start by reading the contextually relevant portion of Numbers chapter 13. Okay, beginning at verse 26, because this is the mother of all Nephilim texts. Okay, it's the mother of all two Nephilim texts we have. And so this is when spies are sent into the land and they come back and they report about it, right? So they brought back word to them and to all the congregation and showed them the fruit of the land. Then they told him and said, "We went to the land where you sent us. It truly flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. Nevertheless, the people who dwell in the land are strong. The cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw the descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south. The Hittites, the Jebusites, the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the banks of the Jordan." Then Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, "Let us go up at once and take possession, for we are able to overcome it." But the men who had gone up with him said, "We are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than." And they gave the children of Israel a bad report of the land which they had spied out, saying, "The land through which we have gone as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people whom we saw in it are men of great stature. There we saw the giants," which is rendering the word Nephilim. "The descendants of Anak came from the giants, and we were like grasshoppers in our own sights, and so we were in their sight." Okay, so first thing to note is this is like a three-part play right here. You get the original report, which is accepted as is. Then you have some interaction, and then you have the bad report. So just beginning on a common sense level, they saw the most awe-inspiring beings on the face of the earth, and they don't roam back into camp yelling, "OMG, you'll never guess what we saw." Or, the ancient equivalent of OMG, I guess OM Yud. No, they go back to camp and they go, "Hey, check out this fruit." Then they talk about the land. Then they talk about cities. So it's subjective, but to me, it's just not common sense. If you saw the most awe-inspiring beings on the planet, that'd be the first thing you talk about. Then the point is, the issue was this was intimidating for them because it was reported that people are strong, the cities are fortified and very large. And the thing is that the Israelites at this point in history were itinerant tent dwellers. But now they're being told that they're going to have to confront people who are strong, who live in fortified large cities. Okay, that's obviously intimidating. And we know there's an aspect of fear in this because it's stated that Caleb quieted the people. And in Deuteronomy 128, when it's relating this event, it says, "Our brethren have discouraged our hearts." Okay. So what you have here is 12 spies. Caleb, and then we find out Joshua sided with Caleb, and then the other 10 spies, okay? So the other 10 spies actually show themselves to be unfaithful and disloyal because they say we are not able to go against the people. But in Deuteronomy 1:29 and 30, again, relating this event, Moses, quote, "said to you, do not be terrified or afraid of them. The Lord your God who goes before you will fight for you according to all he did for you." Okay, now the issue with the report is that a lot of people just say, well, look, it's just called a bad report because it's discouraging, right? Because it's unfaithful, it's disloyal. But no, because that came before we're told they present the bad report. So they say we're not able to go against the people for they're stronger than we before we're told, and they gave the children of Israel a bad report. So discouragement is the motivation for the bad report, but what about its contents? Okay, so first of all, they are self-contradictory because originally they claim that the land flows with milk and honey, right? But in the bad report, they say the land through which we have gone as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants. So that's a straight up contradiction right there. Then they embellish because originally they said the people who dwell in the land are strong and they are stronger than we, right? Twice. People are strong. But in the bad report, they say all the people who we saw in it are men of great stature. So that's an embellishment to the report. And note that they list whom they saw. Anakim, Amalekites, Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Canaanites. But then suddenly in the bad report, what? They suddenly remember, oh yeah, we forgot to mention the most notable beings on the planet. Yeah, we saw them too. Oopsie. Okay. Now, with the exception of the Anakim, they're able to specify where each of the people group live. They tell you exactly where they saw them. But when it comes to Nephilim, they can't pinpoint them, right? So that's at the very least a missing data point. So now what of the contents of the bad report? The issue is they make 4 unique claims. They claim all the people are of great stature. 2, they claim that there's post-flood Nephilim. 3, they claim that the Anakim are related to Nephilim. 4, they claim Nephilim are very tall. Okay, so as to the claim that all the people are of great stature, well, we're only told any such thing reliably about Anakim, who are referred to as being tall. Okay, and yes, tall is a subjective term, right? 2, that there's post-flood Nephilim. Well, even if part of God's purpose for the flood was to be rid of Nephilim, then any concept of post-flood Nephilim in any way, shape, or form, and at any time would imply that God failed. He meant to get rid of them, but he couldn't get the job done. Then 3, that the Anakim are related to Nephilim. Now, this is more of a side note to mention the people who claim that Rephaim are related to Nephilim. You can't even get that from the bad report because it's only talking about Anakim, who are a subgroup of Rephaim. So you cannot claim that all Rephaim are related to Nephilim. Even if you believe this, you can only go as far as claiming that the Anakim are related to them. Then 4, that the Nephilim are very tall. Well, this is the only such physical description we have of Nephilim. Genesis 6 has the other single text discussing Nephilim, and it does not provide us a physical description of them. And note, incidentally, that the Israelites, the nation, did not see Nephilim. They are told by the 10 spies that they saw Nephilim. The people didn't see them. It's just that the spies claim that they, the 10, saw them. Now, note that in Deuteronomy 1:28, again, when this is be related, it states, our brethren have discouraged our hearts, saying the people are greater and taller than we. The cities are great and fortified up to heaven. Moreover, we have seen the sons of the Anakim there. Period. No mention of Nephilim. It's a non-issue. In this relating of what happened, no mention of Nephilim. And now if you go to, for example, the Brenton translation of the Greek Septuagint, that last verse in chapter 13 reads, there we saw the giants. And in this case, that vague, generic, subjective, and undefined English term is rendering the Greek gigantes. And we were before them as locusts, yea, even so were we before them. So in the Septuagint, there's no mention of Anakim. So from the Septuagint, you don't get that Anakim are related to Nephilim. Now, whether that's a textual issue or a gloss issue is another issue. So overall, these spies who are unfaithful, disloyal, self-contradictory, embellishers, who are rebuked for what they said, they contradict Moses, they contradict Caleb, they contradict Joshua, they contradict God, and they contradict the rest of the Bible, because each of those affirms that Anakim and others were in the land, but they never say a single word about Nephilim. Never, ever. Not in.
Yeah, that's the one
Let me
thing
just,
that
it's another
people.
couple statements. Likewise, in Joshua's conquering, not a single statement about Nephilim ever. Likewise with David's wars, not a single Nephilim about, not a single statement about Nephilim ever. And various times we're told about the people of the land and the people who lived around the land. Abraham was told about it. Isaac, Moses, so many people were told what to expect. These are the people that live in the land. Not a single word about Nephilim ever. We have descriptions of wars. We have descriptions even of hand-to-hand combat. Not a single reference to Nephilim ever. And then we have descriptions of the eschaton, right? The last days, the end times. Not a single reference to Nephilim ever. And so when backed into a corner, these guys obviously were fear-mongering, and it was a scare tactic, so they told a don't go in the woods type of tall tale. Mm-hmm. So now that's my opening statement. And then what I wondered is, again, these guys are unfaithful, disloyal, self-contradictory, embellishers, and are rebuked for what they said. They make 4 claims about which the whole entire Bible knows nothing. And yet we're supposed to build the whole post-flood Nephilim theory on this one verse?
Yeah, I've got to ask.
Who and just in your normal life and your day-to-day life, would you believe people like this? They're absolutely unreliable, and nobody should believe them.